And now, we're going to touch up on non-fungible tokens as marketing. And for this, I'm inviting Mr. Alexis Nicolaou, CEO at Block.co, to join us on the stage. Alexis. Come on, let's give it up for Alexis Nicolaou, everyone. The stage is yours.
Yeah. Can I be heard? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. The first session after lunch is not always the best one to have. Blood rushing to the stomach rather than to the head, but I will do my best to keep the interest going. There we go. Right. My name is Alexis Nicolaou. I'm the CEO of Block.co. Block.co is a spin-off company from the University of Nicosia, which I'm sure the majority of you knows as being leaders in the blockchain space, being there from the outset. And now they're actually leading the way into the Metaverse through their Open Metaverse initiative, announced in a spectacular, if I may say so, way a few weeks back in Times Square, New York. Block.co has been in the blockchain credentialing space for the last 3 years, securing to date millions of documents for companies from all sectors. We're now in line with our founders, advancing our endeavors into the NFT space and the Metaverse by assisting brands into actually making the transit into the space through closer engagement with their audiences. I don't think many of you would actually argue with the statement that in 5 to 10 years, most of what we own will actually be held in an e-wallet, whether it's our money, our digital money, our NFTs, our health records, or our house deeds. Now, blockchain technology infrastructure is actually what makes that possible. Blockchain technologies is creating a unique digital representations, programmable properties, unique scarcity and authenticity. Now, blockchain is, of course, a big part of what we call the Web 3. Having evolved from Web 1, from its open source internet protocols, to Web 2, where internet protocols, open internet protocols, were agreed as not being able to be monetized, and building proprietary closed protocols on top of the internet's open ones. Web 3, actually, like Web 1, being open source protocols, but collectively owned through crypto economics. Web 3 is all about community, how all the amazing things that can actually happen when people get together to create a decentralized, interconnected community. On a day-to-day basis, millions of images, videos, or audio files are being uploaded on the internet. Now, what really happens under the hood when this happens? Two things. The file is copied to the platform's backend, and ownership of the file is transferred to that company. That company then being able to monetize that file and retain most of the profits. How can we resolve that? The answer, a 3-letter acronym, NFTs, a file that actually lives on the blockchain. Let's make a quick distinction between fungible and non-fungible tokens. A fungible token is actually one that can be exchanged with another of equal or similar value. Non-fungible token is one that is unique, that is, it cannot be exchanged with another of an equal value, like, for example, the Ferrari you see on the screen, your house, or an expensive painting. NFTs are like in-game items in video games, things that you get in video games, which people buy for status, for identity, for social belonging. As we live more and more of our lives online, it is becoming a bit more difficult to distinguish between real life and life lived digitally. The mobile phone is no longer just a device. The smartphone is no longer just a device. It is actually a place where we spend the majority of our time. Let's have a look at some numbers. The graph you see on the screen is the Google searches for NFTs from 0 to 100, which is actually the maximum in 3 months, from January to March 2021, and he has remained up there ever since. A bit about the numbers, the sales numbers. Over the last quarter, 10.7 billion worth of US dollars sales of NFTs, 8 times up from the previous quarter, and this over 4 million item sales. Now, let's bring in the Metaverse. The Metaverse, which is effectively a 3D internet with blockchain and crypto embedded. The term was initially referred to in a science fiction novel, Snow Crash, by Neil Stevenson, where he used the term to describe a virtual reality-based successor to the internet. 30 years on, and this is now becoming a reality. People refer to it as the new internet, democratized virtual society, convergence of virtual and physical realities, persistent virtual spaces, and digital twin of our own world. Now, the word is frequently used to describe a future iteration of the internet made up of persistent, shared 3D virtual spaces linked into a perceived virtual universe. Let's bring in the brands. Brands can push the boundaries of creativity in the metaverse and offer experiences that are unrepeatable in real life. VP of brand partnerships of Roblox platform, which I'm sure most of you know, in the gaming space. The shot you see on the right-hand side of the screen is that of an AR fashion show by Gucci, the Gucci Garden, where participants through AR glasses could actually see the stars in the sky, they could see butterflies flying around, and they could actually see flowers flying out of the mannequin heads. Coming out of the mannequin heads, sorry. Now, as people spend more and more time online, it is becoming a bit more difficult to distinguish, as I said, real life from virtual life. And an ecosystem is being created of an ecosystem that encompasses digital belongings, relationships, and social spaces. Now, brands need to be part of those social spaces where people spend a lot of their time, because people don't just socialize there. People work there, people shop there, people discover new products out there. A recent survey, over 3,000 people, actually found that it is really important for a brand to have a digital presence as it is important to have in-store presence. 8 in 10 people also said that the future of shopping is in fact hybrid. Brands need to work just as hard to create inclusive spaces online as they do offline, said almost 9 out of 10 people. Why? Because online places are simply a lot more inclusive. Now, that same research actually said that brands will need to have a digital presence to be successful in the future. And Generation Z actually said that it's easier to relate to brands that do have a digital presence. Now, for a successful NFT launch, there almost certainly needs to exist or to create and engage a community of followers, of fans, a community of customers. An NFT launch would almost certainly fail if it is only seen as one of digital tokens or if a means for a brand to garner revenue from their customers. An NFT launch needs to enable meaningful and lasting connections between the brands and their customers. It needs to generate perennial value for the holders. With NFTs, value and content are one and the same, and new content can leave behind unlockable doors. NFTs empower never-ending stories. The boundaries of one's imagination is actually what would actually stop the work that can actually be done in the NFT space for brands. A brand needs to know how to attract and excite fans through new incentives like exclusivity, membership, access, and product experiences. It needs to immerse customers in a community of people with similar interests. It needs to grow the community through engaging fans and benefits to their habits that reward loyalty and participation. It needs to grow the customer base by evangelizing people who've enjoyed and shared these new, richer experiences. Now, there's 5 lessons that brands really need to be aware when they engage into an NFT launch. First one, already mentioned, people are spending so much more time online, which gives rise to a new ecosystem of virtual living that encompasses digital possessions, encompasses relationships and social spaces. What brands need to do is to actually be part of that digital third space where people spend so much of their time, because as I said, people do not just socialize there. People work there, people shop there, and people discover new products there. Lesson number 2, people want their virtual existence to reflect what's important to them and are bringing their in real life ethics, values, and identities with them into the virtual realm. What that means for brands is that to meaningfully engage with the consumer in the metaverse, they need to think beyond entertainment and novelty. How can you contribute to the creation of an inclusive and ethical virtual world? Virtual and physical realities are becoming superimposed, bringing augmented and digitally influenced elements into the physical world and making the digital realm hyper-realistic. What happens in the virtual world will have real-life consequences for brands and businesses and could change the way physical products are tested, manufactured, and sold. Lesson number 4, to help bring the metaverse into life, brands have 2 key pathways. They can either develop the technical tools or they can perfect the end-user experience. Remember, the metaverse will not be owned or regulated by any one brand. As the metaverse develops, collaboration between brands will not only be essential, but the quickest point to entry. Now, as I mentioned in the previous slide, there's 2 key pathways for brands to help bring the metaverse to life. They could either develop the technical tools that will power the metaverse, or they could perfect the end-user experience. At Block.co, we're here to actually take care of the former so that brands can concentrate on the latter. As mentioned in the beginning, Block.co has been working with blockchain technology for the last 3 years, and we have considered pretty much pioneers in the space of blockchain credentialing. We are now advancing our endeavors into the NFT space and the metaverse. This is still the beginning, so you cannot just be a technology firm. You cannot just add value from a technological perspective, but you need to support the brands in actually developing the concepts that would help them transition to the metaverse through the best possible engagement of their audiences. What's our USP? Well, through the platform, brands can send out email blasts with NFTs to be claimed by their prospective buyers or their community, targeting each person directly and individually, thus personalizing the whole experience. This gives the opportunity to the brand through our platform to gain valuable insights into the end recipient's engagement with the product. An easy three-step process. Step one, you upload your images, your assets, your NFTs onto the platform. Step two, you add details of the person, of the recipient you wish to have this asset, whether it's an email, a phone number. Step three, that person receives an email or an SMS where, with press of a link, they are directed to a platform where they can claim their individual NFT. And in that way, the brand can actually send whatever messages they wish directly to the person they wish to send it to. I will leave you with some thoughts about the future, about the spatial web, and where brands and NFTs lie in the way to actually getting there. Spatial web is defined as a pairing of real and virtual realities, enabled via billions of connected devices and access through the interface of virtual and augmented reality. We're still a long way from there, because digitization of life means that every piece of information can become spatial. Every environment can be smarter by virtue of AI, and every data point about me and my assets, both virtual and physical, can be reliably stored, secure, enhanced, and monetized. Thank you for your attention.
Alexis Nicolaou, everyone, at block.co. Do we have any questions for Alexis? Anyone? No? Well, you know what they say, Alexis? It's not about the lunch break. You done an amazing job and an amazing presentation, and you explained it so well that everyone understood. Right. Thank you so much, Alexis.